So shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from the hot lead zone, and today we're going to give another test to the Hi-Tek powder coating system. It's actually a Hi-Tek polymer coating system, and as you know, we did the old gold before and got some good results, but let's give that another try, also using the Hi-Tek black cherry color. We've done it once, so we can have more experience doing it some more. Well, first up is that, as you know, we mixed the old gold powder with acetone and we put it in this paint can, and the word is that this is still good. It's been a month. Let's go ahead and use this mix to do 4 pounds of 200 grain 44 caliber bullets. So we're gonna see how this is after a month in the container. So there's 4 pounds of bullets in our tumbling bucket. So first up, go ahead and shake this up. This mix is over a month old. Let's shake it up well. Then we open it up. There's a little fizz. That sounds like a good sound. And then we add 6 milliliters of this mix. Like that. And then we start swirling. That's long enough. Now we go ahead and put it into the trays. The bullets did not stick together. That's a good sign. Now let's spread them out. The mixing was for 15 seconds, no more than 20. And we got some good coating there, as you see. And this time I'm prepared. I have more than one basket. Now the idea is we need to put these out and let them dry completely before we put them into the oven. So let's go ahead and put them out to dry. So you see they're out in the sun and also the wind. They should dry nicely. And they're away from dust and dirt that might blow around, because they're actually 5.5 feet off the ground. So I took 309 grains of the black cherry powder up to this line. Now I know that some of you say that you need to measure every colored powder separately, but I'm not going to worry about a little bit of error there. It's not going to be significant. Now, getting the powder into the container, this is an isopropyl alcohol container. Not hard, just take a little bit of time doing it. Make a little bit of a mess. Wearing gloves is a good idea. Now, if you're going to use a wide mouth paint can like this, no problem. Just dump it in, easy. Instructions say to put a bullet in there to help mix. Well, I'm going to use one of my reject bullets to do that. There's always reject bullets in my casting pots, so I just grab one. Throw that in. Next will come 100 milliliters of acetone, and again, wearing the gloves is a good idea. So there's our 100 ml of acetone, eyeball measure. Pour it in. Get rid of the aluminum flap. Pour it in. And there it is. Okay, been mixing that for about a minute. Now we'll just take the pressure off. And then we'll go ahead and let this sit for about, maybe 35-45 minutes or so while we go ahead and put the first batch of gold into the oven. I'd like to thank Steve Riddick again, that's Stephen Riddick from the UK, again for sending me this Hi-Tek and the two colors, because with two different colors we can be doing batches and not get them mixed up as to which one's gone in for the first coat, the second coat, the third coat, this kind of thing. No problem. Plus the joy of discovery. So thanks again, Steve, for the two colors of Hi-Tek. Well, that gold looks dry by now, so I took it down off the perch and put them on top of the oven to preheat. And also what you want to do is, the reason to make sure that they're dry is that all the acetone has dried off, because if there's still some acetone on there, when you put it into this oven early, you'll wind up getting bubbles. Don't want that. Now notice I've made those racks so that you can put one rack on top of the other and thereby double the capacity of a smaller oven. We'll see how that works also. And into the oven they go. Both layers. Set it for 10 minutes. Now the instructions say that once 10 minutes goes up, you've got to get them out of there, because you don't want to heat it for longer than 10 minutes, and that'll finish the first coat. Now I've made extra wire baskets, and now we're going to do the black cherry color. So this has been sitting for a little while now. I'm pleased to report that the Safeway's brand of 70% isopropyl alcohol container does not get eaten up by the acetone, at least not in 45 minutes. So let's go ahead and add 6 ml of this to 4 pounds of those 200 grain round nose flat point 44 caliber bullets. There we go. And we gotta start mixing. There it goes. Little sound change there, and now let's go ahead and put it into the baskets. Now the coating isn't all uniform, but I'm not worried about that at all, because the instructions say that's normal, and we're going to be doing 3 coats anyway. That's the beauty of the Hi-Tek. The Hi-Tek, because we're going to put on more than 1 coating, say 3 coatings, there won't be any little defects, basket glitches, all that kind of thing, because of the 3 coats, and they're thin. So you see, the beauty is, here is our first batch out of the oven with the old gold color, and it's sitting there cooling off, waiting for the second coat. So the beauty of the Hi-Tek system is that you can do these batches and run them in continuity and make good efficient use of the time, especially if you have a lot of bullets to do. So if you got big batches of bullets, this is the way to go, and it works very well. So you see, the Hi-Tek system has some feedback built into it, because you notice that there's no bubbles. If there were bubbles, it means that we didn't let the bullets dry long enough, so the acetone was still in there. If you don't get any bubbles, you know you waited the proper amount of time and you're good to go. And something else that I just learned, and that is, if you want to have the pure color, then you need to have a designated bucket for each color you're going to do with Hi-Tek. Otherwise, you're liable to get some creative color combinations, which may not be bad, but for the wild cherry here, the black cherry, I think it's important that we go ahead and have a designated bucket. Now, very interesting, I'm noticing that some of the bullets are getting that typical powder doesn't want to stick phenomena, and others are coating fine. So let's look at possible causes for this. The plastic spoon I'm using to meter out the 6 millimeters of the Hi-Tek liquid looks like it's being eaten up by the acetone. So we're going to switch to a metal spoon. So let's show you the results. Hi-Tek Old Gold. Now what you see on the left, those 3 Keith bullets are 3 coats of the Hi-Tek to get that color. And to get this color, it's 4 coats. 4 coats of the Hi-Tek. Now these are the best. And most of them came out like that, but then these are the worst. And you see the ones that didn't quite get the polymer coat to get into the grease groove. But since the grease groove doesn't do anything for our shooting anyway, it really doesn't matter. Now here is the Hi-Tek Black Cherry. And you see, nice color. And there's the squash. Passed the squash test nicely, and so it's a good bond on the polymer. But notice how nice these came out. Well, the problem was, here are the bad ones, and the bad ones, you see the same thing. The color didn't get into the grease grooves. And some of the noses also had that same problem. In order to correct that, it took 5 coats. Had to put 5 coats on to get this result. So there you go, 5 coats to get that result, 4 coats to get that result. And it's a good result. There are 182 of these bullets done, and 188 of these. And it took a total of 3.5 hours of work to get this done. Plus, a lot of that time was paying attention because when the oven cycle was done, had to get them out of there to cool right away. You can't leave it in the oven too long. And when you go ahead and do the tumbling, you have to pay attention not to be too slow doing that. So 3.5 hours to get 188 plus 182, that's 370 bullets coated. But it's a good result. And I kind of like the way it came out in the way of result, but I don't think the time was commensurate. We need to figure out how to do this process more efficiently so it doesn't take so long. Perhaps the color. We need to use the green or the red. Just like Eastwood has some powders that are can't miss, maybe these 2 colors are a little bit more intensive in time usage. Just to give everybody some perspective, after I did those Hi-Tek for 3.5 hours, I went ahead and powder coated with Ford Light Blue Eastwood powder, the same bullets, and I got 503 of them done in 1 hour and 15 minutes using the basket technique. And of course, you know the basket technique, we get good ones like this. There's the squash test, but we also get bullets that have little bare spots from touching the wire basket or each other, as you see. Won't affect the way they shoot, and when they're loaded, they're not even that noticeable. But if you want perfect, then you either have to stand them on their bases, or the Hi-Tek doesn't get these little blemishes like this. But 1 hour and 15 minutes to do 503 bullets, as opposed to 3.5 hours to do 182 and 188, that's 370. I now have a very good selection of Hi-Tek coated bullets to load and work with. By the way, I went ahead and sized all of these before I did this section of the video, so I feel real good. A lot of good work done today. So there's the difference in production on a side-by-side basis. Now I know that Hi-Tek is a very successful coating, and I really wanted to be able to show that it's so good for us to use. Well, it still probably is, and it may very well be. But there are some pluses and minuses to Hi-Tek, and I'll let you all out there go ahead and see if you can make the conclusions yourself. And you might want to go ahead and use Hi-Tek and experience it, because only that way can you know for yourself whether it's the best for you or not.